Again, and hello, it's Vo, and welcome back to Scary Bear's Totally Not Scary Zoo. I'm going to pick up where we left off from last time. We're getting our research done. Still got plenty of diseases to research until we get that finished. Yeah, we're trying to keep up with our animal research so we can get better enrichment items and better food quality for all our animals. We're working on our mechanic research as well, getting that done. We're promoting all our staff so they're more efficient at their jobs. They'll be under less pressure because we're paying them more. That makes the job magically easier. Yeah, we're going to try and promote everyone sort of evenly as we can. When they're going for breaks, we'll send them off to get trained. We'll try to keep on top of our animal population as well. We don't want our exhibits to be overcrowded and our enclosures. If our enclosures get too overcrowded, there's too many animals, it will pose a disease risk because the keepers won't be cleaning up fast enough. So yeah, we've got to periodically trim down our animal population, keep only the best. So we want to try and promote everyone evenly. You want to leave it a little bit until everyone's done their training and they're back on the job before you send the next lot off. We're making sure that our animals are not inbreeding. Trying to stay on top of that whenever we get the notification. And if it is the male we're getting rid of, buying a new one, replacing them as the alpha of the household. Remembering to go back in when we unlock our enrichment items. Try and find some nice things, keep it interesting. Got these larger items for the animals to play on. Yeah, if you can fit them in, sure. There's some massive structures you'd have to have really big enclosures for. Yeah, we're getting there with our mechanic research. We only need the Africa theme at the moment, since we're still working on the Africa section. All African animals. Yeah, this enclosure is looking pretty good. Move stuff around now that we've put this massive thing in the middle. Gonna make a second little drinking spot in our big enclosure, because some of our animals are getting thirsty. It's maybe too crowded over at the main drinking spot. Yeah, we're getting rid of our male giraffe, so we're going to replace that with another one. We're going to extend our staff area, so we've got room for another keeper's hut where they prepare the food for our animals. Again, we can hide that with some trees, mitigate the negative impact it's going to have on our guests. We're looking at our next potential animals, checking what size of a enclosure they need, and guesstimating it. We want to leave enough room for our train to go through the middle, if we ever get there. That's the end goal once you've completed your zoo. A nice train that runs through the middle of it that can transport the guests all around to the places they need to go. It's like the end game. Yeah, so we'll try and leave space on this side where we've made these bridges for the train to go through. There should be more than enough space for us. just check the sort of square meterage. We're going to set up some of our other items, our educational displays, our speakers. Make sure we get our webcams and things popped into the enclosures, along with heaters. So we'll start scooping up some wild dogs. Get a pack of them living in the new enclosure. That'll give us another thing to research. We're getting there with the diseases. So we're going to make our habitat for the dogs aligned to their needs, type of terrain that they like, and we'll give them enough hard shelter to make them happy. Again, we're going to put one of these bigger sort of climbing frames in, keep things interesting for them. With the dogs, I like to create them a little underground, a little tunnel. That provides them with a little bit more shelter, but it also provides them with a more interesting environment. The terrain tools are pretty good. That you can make a little cave, same way as you can make a little hill. Start researching our dogs. That'll give us the enrichment items for them. Yeah, we're going to make a tunnel, just still within the enclosure, obviously. Somewhere where they can go for a little bit of extra shelter, a bit of extra privacy. Yeah, we're going to have a decent sized pack, so yeah, I want to give them space, places for them to go. I'm trying to smooth things out so it's easier for them to get in and out of. It's not just going to be a hole they fall into and can't get back out. As I say, the terrain tools are pretty good. As you make more and more enclosures, you can make them more interesting. Yeah, I'm sure our dogs will love that. So we'll set up our education talking points, where our educators will come round and give lectures on the dogs. Make sure that we've got all our donation bins, recycling bins, that sort of thing. As you get more and more animals, yes, your park rating will go up. We're able to charge people more. It becomes harder and harder to manage the animal population. I'm going to duplicate a few of our vending machines. A couple of them are already duplicates. I'm going to spread them out a little bit. Yeah, they're easy enough to copy. A few of the more essential ones spread out a little bit, give people more opportunities to spend their cash. Does mean that there'll be more machines to break down. That's fine, our mechanics are on it. And we're remembering to add the CCTV, the security poles, make our security jobs a little bit easier for our guards. That should mean that less things are getting vandalized. We'll need to replace our bins and educational displays fewer times. Yeah, the dogs are using our little tunnel. Oh yeah, lovely. Yeah, dogs are settling in, playing with their enrichment items. Fantastic. Gonna make sure our work zones are set up for our new enclosure. All the things that are going to be essential. If we want to give our mechanics an easier time, what we can do is attach some of their buildings into our work zones. So the buildings that the mechanics would need to go and service, we can add them to the habitat work zones and assign our mechanics in there. Assign a few of them to the work zones. And that way they've got specific areas of work. That should make them more efficient at their jobs. Yeah, you need to do more management as the park gets bigger with the animals and the staff. Yeah, when things start going wrong, it's hard to know how to rectify it, whether to employ more staff or to train up the staff that you've got, or to put them into smaller and smaller work zones to micromanage them more. You need a sort of balanced approach of trying all things. Yeah, so far so good. We are getting a couple of notifications that our big enclosure is a little overcrowded. Our dogs are managing to escape the enclosure somehow and go and mingle with the people who are all there for their educational lecture. Not quite sure how they're escaping, whether they're doing like a wall jump in the corner to get out there. I don't see them getting out. Thankfully it's just dogs. People love dogs. I'm sure those guests were loving the extreme close experience with the wild dogs. Yeah, don't know how it's got back out. Yeah, we're going to raise the height of the walls of this enclosure. Hopefully stop that behaviour. Stop our dogs escaping and mingling with our guests. As I say, I'm sure the dogs and the guests don't mind it. That's not how we should be running a zoo. Yeah, there's lots of animals still getting distressed about going too far into the drinking pond in the big enclosure. So we're going to try and make a little platform for them to get in and out. Put some wood in here. Solves everything. So give them some platforms to stand on. So if they do feel like they're in distress, then they should be able to stand on one of these platforms and get back out of it in theory. That's the idea anyway. Again, the building tools are pretty good. You can customize things how you want. Yeah, a few more trees. Hide away our staff buildings for when the potential train comes through the middle. Yeah, because we've got conservation credits, we can get better animals from the animal trading. So we can keep our animal populations high quality. Yeah, we want quality over quantity with our animals. Same with the staff really. So they're going to try and get them all trained up to 3 stars. Yeah, it'll cost more money, but they should be better at their jobs. Complain less about being overworked. That's the theory anyway. As I say, lots more animal management. The more animals you've got, the more things you need to be on top of. Yeah, we'll get there. Research on our wild dogs is going fine. We'll soon get them any unique enrichment items that we haven't already unlocked for our other animals. Okay, I'm constantly looking through the animal market. Try to refine our animal population. Keep mixing up the gene pool, so we've got less chance of inbreeding. Yeah, we start to look at leopards for our next animal. See that we need more power on this side. So we're going to create our little staff area. Add the power. And then we can add a bigger staff room. Now that we've unlocked the staff buildings through our mechanics research, we can get a bigger building. So yeah, we'll try and get our first established area over here. Again, leaving space, trying to keep it aligned with our other enclosures. Get things tidied up, maximize the space around the buildings. We can rein in any edges we need to if we need to reduce the size. Again, so it's pretty easy to make things a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. We're going to eat into our elephant's enclosure a little bit, so we can add more seating areas for when we do our educational lecture. Get all our barriers set up. Check the size, make sure it's okay. We're going to need more water treatment, so we'll get that added in. In all our heaters and things. Interesting sort of furniture for them. Don't want to put it too near the edge. Don't want them to climb up and jump out. Yeah, it's definitely going to be more of a problem than the wild dogs escaping. Don't want a leopard suddenly sitting next to you unexpectedly. We've already got a lot of enrichment items unlocked for all the research we've done on our other animals. There's quite a bit of crossover with enrichment items. Probably got most of them unlocked at this point. But yeah, we'll keep doing the research anyway. Make sure we get everything done. Again, we're not going to fall behind with our sort of decoration. All the little things we need to add in on the side of our enclosures, all our educational items, our seating and things for our guests, all the important donation bins. Again, we're going to have a bit of an overlap with our educators' talking points. Make sure that whichever educator is free is going to be able to go and do the lecture. They all seem overworked and stressed out, so we could try and micromanage them, leave them longer gaps in between their lectures that they have to do. Might be a tactic for the future. Yeah, we'll try and get everyone upgraded first to 3 stars, see if that fixes the problem, see if they stop complaining about being overworked. Okay, once we get our animals in, we can set up all the educational items, all the screens and everything to display the correct animal. And we can do a little bit of terraforming with their enclosure, give them what they need. When you're making money, it is tempting to keep expanding and keep adding animals, but we don't want to fall behind too far in our research. At the same time, if you go too slow, especially in the beginning, I think that's how we fell behind on cash at the beginning of the playthrough. Maybe not having enough animals, taking too long to do our research. The next thing. I don't think the Nyalas need that big enclosure. Yeah, things are getting unusually shaped now, having to wrap the enclosures around these staff buildings. Yeah, hopefully we've got enough room for everything we need. And get another enclosure there. That's the plan. Any awkward little bits of space we could always save for the platform for the train, for where people are getting on and off. It's another option. Or some more shops. We need to put in a restaurant at some point. It's another eating option. Maybe save that for next time. Make sure that we've got all our enrichment items. Go through and see if we've unlocked anything new. See if the stuff that we have unlocked is suitable for our newer guests. Yeah, make sure we've got the right surface. This looks like sand. Make sure they've got a suitable structure for their shelter. Make sure they've got heaters and things. Get some extra bedding in. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. We've got an active disease, but we've finished researching it already. Means we don't need to jump around as much with our research. Going to connect these two enclosures together as one work group. Again, we've got to go through and sort out our animal population, replenish and refresh it a little bit. Get a few classy new animals. Release some into the wild that we don't need anymore. Make sure that we stop any inbreeding. Yeah, we're getting there. We're almost finished our wild dog research. Again, the more animals that you've got, the more you have to do in terms of preening the population. Yeah, we're trying to keep all the silver and gold rated animals, basically. Get rid of the bronze or clear ones. Especially in our big enclosure. They've been around long enough. We should be getting to prime animals by this point. Make yet another enclosure. Okay, we're seeing how many enclosures we can get in this little area. Depending on what we want to pop in. Yeah, I think we're pushing our luck. Should be making these enclosures bigger. Yeah, whatever the animal needs. Doesn't technically need much more. So yeah, just a lot of trips to the Zoopedia. Check the requirements for each animal. Make sure we've got enough space. And get it set up. And make sure not to fall behind with getting our educational screens and our speakers and the benches and the bins. Remember to add all our new enclosures into work groups. And make sure and assign some people into the zones. Yeah, we are expanding a little bit quickly. to catch up with our research. So you don't want to expand too quickly. You'll easily get overwhelmed when things start to go wrong. Just takes a couple of habitats to fall into a dirty status where the animals are getting ill. I've found the staff room perks screen. We generally just want to make people get their energy back faster or do their training faster. That's usually the perks that I'm choosing. Yeah, we're really pushing our luck trying to fit an extra enclosure in here. At least with the bridge that we've got, our visitors can go up to see whatever's going to end up in here. But yeah, there's not a huge room to play with, so it can't be something that needs a lot of space. Yeah, I think we're going to put our Nalas into the one on the end. Maybe put something else into the slightly bigger enclosure. Again, make sure that we've got our water patches covered by our water treatment. It's another thing that can lead to disease for your animals, having unclean water. So yeah, we'll get all this set up. So make sure not to fall behind with our benches and bins and our educational items. Get the work zone set up. Get our walls raised. And we decide we want mandrills that are going to be in here, so we want to give them things to climb on. Sort of climbing frame environment. They don't require much space, but as I say, we've got to make it interesting for them. Make sure to add our webcams and our heaters. Power is not quite reaching, so we'll need to add one more power thing over here. Make sure everything's covered. That's that little area finished now. Everything's set up. Looking good. As I say, we need to catch up a little bit on our research. Other than that, things are going okay. Get our animals in, do our terraforming, add whatever shelter they need. Yeah, the smaller enclosures, there's not a lot of room for maneuver for bigger stuff. Yeah, it's enough room for the animals. According to our metrics that we can see. Make sure to get the two-way glass where people are going to need to be viewing the animals, and the red brick where they don't. And that's it. Everything's looking good. That's another decade done. We'll come back next time and pick up where we left off from. Until then, do take it easy, and I'll see you all in the next one.